All right, guys, thanks for tuning in one more time. If you've done so, I want to say thank you. Appreciate the support. Again, trying to get a little bit more content out there. So if you haven't done so yet, please feel free to hit subscribe and the notifications as videos come out so you can see them coming out. So just want to hit on a few things today. Obviously, I had the blessing of having my match announced. And for that, I'm very grateful. Thank you, Sasho, for accepting. Thank you, Angin and East versus West, for setting it up. Greatly appreciated. Again, another huge honor, another match that, I don't know if I'm deserving of, but I wound up getting. So for that, I'm thankful. So the first thing in regards to this, I'm looking at social media and seeing a lot of questions about what happened with the Zoloev match, because that was released first. So I'll shed some light on that before I go into my thoughts on the Sasho match. So Haji he had accepted the match. Obviously, there's some translation issues there. So Angin had to go through basically a translator. And I think there was a little bit of confusion in that process. So Zoloev was already slated to compete in the AMC tournament, which is a big money tournament in Chechnya, which is 4 weeks prior to East versus West 7. So that became a question, like, for Angin, like, okay, well, what happens now to this match if Zoloev loses in this tournament? Well, Zoloev basically, his translator came back and said, well, he's going to pull 85 kilograms, so he's a heavy favorite to win the tournament. So that was enough risk to be able to accept to move forward. So I think there was discussions maybe between Angin and Zoloev about maybe a potential future match with Samusha at 85. And I think there was a little bit of confusion there. And moving forward, based off of the communications via text message, Zoloev had accepted the match with me on May 6th at East versus West 7, knowing that he was going to be 85 4 weeks in advance, but he, probably come back up close to 95. Anyway, the poster was designed, and Angin, I think, sent it over to Zoloev and me to take a look at it. Zoloev came back and basically said, well, I thought I was competing in July at 85 kilograms. And Angin went back and was like, no, we agreed on 95 in May against Paul. So there's a little bit of back and forth. And Zoloev also mentioned to Angin that he has to pull Russian nationals 2 weeks before. So it's Chechnya 4 weeks, and then Russian nationals 2 weeks. And this is also a contingency for his sponsorship or salary that he receives. He has to go to Russian nationals and he has to get a medal. So I completely understand it. Like, there's no concern on my end. Some people were speculating an injury and things like that. No, there's no injury that caused that match to cancel and get replaced. It was really solely just a little bit of miscommunication and some prior engagements for Zoloev. So obviously, at some point in my career, I would love the honor to be able to compete against Haji as well. We'll see if that comes down the road, but right now, I'm happy with where I'm at and the blessings I've been given. So on to the Sasho match. So, I mean, obviously the polls are out and a lot of people see me as a huge underdog, and I'm seeing all kind of things, on the internet, people saying, I'll lose 1,000 to 1 and all, or 1,000 to 0, whatever. So, huge underdog. Stylistically, I mean, we've seen some recent stuff. I mean, with Sasho, compared to some of these other matches that I've taken, we're not like, Sasho's in form. We know that. It's not like Rustam, where we didn't know what form he was in or what shape he would be in. So this is kind of a no excuses match for me. So I'm blessed to be able to be in that position. Stylistically, the lanes are a little bit more clear. I think Zoloev was a little bit more versatile with more options. Obviously, we saw Zoloev top roll Hutchings very efficiently. So looking at that in comparison to Sasho, there is a top roll threat, but it's not a primary weapon. that we really see him use too much at a high level. So his setup is definitely a little bit different than Zoloev. So there's a lot of different things that I have to dig into, and I'm gonna have to do my homework to be able to compete. So I understand my role in this match as the underdog, and for that I am grateful. I've said it in the past. I much prefer being the underdog or the guy who's chasing. So one of the other things that came up about this match is the poster. A couple people reached out, and I seen a few posts on social media where folks said, "Well, if Paul has the title, then why is he pictured below, like chasing Sasho?" And the concept, I believe, is something that Soul came up with. That was, maybe fitting for both matches. But the reality of it is Sasho, to me, along with Zoloev, are just some more legends that I'm gonna have the opportunity to compete against. So by all means, I need to be the guy at the bottom of the mountain. I see myself as the guy at the bottom of the mountain, especially how the Rustem match went. I won't feel like I have accomplished anything until I defend the title that has been bestowed upon me. So I need to have a clean victory for myself, mainly for myself. So I like I like that position. I like to be looking up the mountain and working my way up. So I'm definitely the underdog. The poster, the fight poster, the promotional poster definitely depicts that. Amazing work by Soul and the whole team from East versus West. Just amazing stuff. So yeah, huge, tall task. An amazing opponent who is incredibly, credible. Resume is unreal. Power his power for the 95s or 90 kilogram weight class, wherever he's resting at, is top notch. Like really, really top notch. I know, we talk about the comparison of the two opponents. I do believe Zoloev has beaten Sasho in the last couple times that they faced each other, which is interesting. And I've already started to pick some of those matches apart, start doing my homework. So I think that, there a lot of people are saying I have no chance at all. And, it's not possible. And to that, I would just say, all I need is a puncher's chance. Give me that Rocky Balboa. I'm good with it. And everybody, in this sport, we're all just men. We all bleed. We saw Levon bleed a little bit. So nothing is outside of the realm of possibility. So never say never and never say die. That's going to be my approach to this match. So the good news with that is, too, being the underdog, that means that I'll have extra motivation as far as preparation. Not that I'm not consistent in preparation regardless, but sometimes that extra little bit of doubt that you're receiving from other people, or doubt that you may even have in yourself, is enough to push you to do that extra rep, or to train just a little bit longer, or to use just a little bit more weight, or to do that extra stuff in practice. And I've been blessed. A couple of arm wrestlers have reached out to me with some ideas as far as training for Sasho, and I started that. I started that on Saturday. It was proposed that I'd start doing longer holds to work on endurance if I can stop the match. So I started with 2-minute holds on the table, basically, where I try and hold my training partners with a band or without it, whatever is needed depending on my gas level, for 2 minutes. And I'll tell you what, that is something different. It is something different. Trying to sit in the middle of the table in a deep hook, holding still and not giving for 120 seconds or whatever it is, 100. Yeah, it's until you try it, it's something different. So I did 10 rounds of that. I decreased the time as I started to fail. By the end of practice, I was working with the ladies. So it's interesting. I like these challenges because they open new opportunities for myself to push myself and dig deeper into training and the different techniques. So when I feel like I'm the underdog, I feel like I have to turn over every rock to find out every possible way and do everything that I can in my 8 or 9 weeks, so that I can feel like, I'm leaving it all on the table. So that's going to be the goal, win, lose, or draw. I'm going to come out with the same fire I always do, and I'll leave it on the table. And the plan is to leave no rock unturned in training and research and preparation. So it's been fun thus far, in the aspect of reading the comments and seeing the perception. So I like it. I relish the position I'm in as the underdog, and I happily embrace it. So for all those guys for all you out there who shot me positive vibes and energy, greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate it. I like it to come both ways a little bit, and there's plenty of it both ways. So for that, I'm thankful. A couple other things I wanted to cover and some stuff that happened over the weekend. Obviously, we had the Arnold Classic take place. I was not able to get out there this year. I would have loved to go, whether it's compete or just be there. It's just a great environment. So I think we saw some really good classes, and I want to give a couple shout outs to some winners and some people who I thought performed really well. First off, Kevin Palco in the 154s. Amazing. I think Kevin started right around the same time as I did, or a little bit after. Hook puller, compact, trains efficiently. He has a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked him out, go check out Kevin Palco. I think it's Kevin Palco Arm Wrestling. But amazing upset wins over Roman Gromov. Great matches. Roman cracked his wrist back, and the first match he held without his hand, and he eventually curled him in and pinned him, I believe. Second match in the finals, he wound up, Palco got the stop way down by the pin line. And I think there was 2 fouls in the match. It was restart, but both restarts looked basically the same. Like Kevin was holding him there, and it was looking like he was going to bring him back, but it was still in the balance. One of those ones I would have loved to see a final pin on, but the refereeing was solid and strict, as it always is in Arnold's. So Roman wound up fouling out, but amazing job by Kevin. Huge, pinnacle achievement for him thus far. So look out for Kevin Palco if you don't know him. Go on to the 176s. We saw Luke Kent, and to me, Dustin Hyatt. They wound up in the finals together. Those two, I mean, it was another great class, other people in it and everything. But Dusty, I think a lot of people were watching Dustin Hyatt because we've seen him climb. We saw that amazing performance he had in Arm Wars. We've seen him pull at Monster Factory. He's just a stud, young guy. I don't even know if he's 21. I don't think he's 21 yet. Kid can pull everywhere. He's fast. He's got endurance. He's got heart. He's got everything. So this was going to be the big test. And I remember talking to Doug Ehrlich, and Doug was like, "Yeah, Luke's going to win that." And I said, I don't know. I mean, Luke's got to be the favorite, but Dusty has a shot. And it really played out dramatically. A bunch of restarts. I think Luke top rolled him in their first match, and then in the finals, Dustin wound up fouling out. But it looked like he was getting top rolled and losing his hand and everything. But he looked like he was capable of getting a stop there. Really, really made Luke work. Hats off to Dustin. Hats off to Luke for sure. First off, for winning. Amazing. Luke's top roll looked absolutely pristine. So congrats, Luke, on the Arnold title. But Dusty's definitely somebody to watch, especially with that kind of performance against such a seasoned veteran like Luke. And it was nice to see, right after the match, immediately saw Luke go up and kind of put his arm around him and congratulate him and give him props. Yeah, that to me, those are the best parts of the sport. And sometimes, you set out to a big tournament with the intention of winning, and things don't go your way. I've been there. But sometimes the earning of the respect of the mutual respect of pullers that have been there before you is of just as much value as the trophy or the couple bucks that comes along with winning. So it was nice to see. Great sportsmanship. Next up, 198s. Big shout out to Jason Merlot. He took second. Congrats to Eduardo Tiete. Amazing. He looked very good at 198. I know he's been a smaller guy at times, but Eduardo was able to, I don't want to say he didn't contain Jason, like he was not able to cleanly hook him, but he was able to keep a flat enough wrist to be able to go sideways and drag against Jason. Jason, both matches, you could see that there was a lane there where, he had hand control and just didn't quite have enough to finish through the pad. Very close match. That's actually a super match that I would like to see play out at some time, where they have rounds and they face each other over multiple rounds. I think that matchup right there has a chance to be like fireworks, especially in the future, because Jason's hand is so good. Just has a couple components that I think if he gets a little bit more confident in, that he's going to be really, really tough to beat at that weight. Next off, 242s, Pablo stealing the show again. So we see Pablo have that great match against Sabin. Obviously, Pablo beat me earlier in the year, and Pablo is just incredible. He pulled, I think he was 263 when he pulled Saban like a week before. And he goes to the Arnold a week later, makes it to 242, a good like 20, 21, 22 pound weight cut, and looks immense. So he's also in a class with Marcio and some other very good pullers. And he beat Marcio. He top rolled Marcio in the straps the first time they met. And it was like you could just see that static setup that I talked about with Pablo. It was looked to be so uncomfortable for Marcio, and it didn't allow him a lane to even get a stop. The finals, when they meet back up, Marcio is basically in a position where he's going to get a stop. Like we can see it, like, but it's not a great position. It was kind of like an open wrist pronated, like John Brzenk style, like stop. And Marcio wound up getting his second foul. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see a pin on that one. But again, the refereeing was strict as it always is, and it always will be at the Arnold. So that's part of the game. But huge shout out to Pablo, Marcio. Hope everything's good. Hope you're healthy. You know, not sure the total, like if Marcio was in great shape, but I know he's been training after he had the injury with Irakli. So I know he's been very consistent since he's come back. So I'm sure, you know, he wouldn't go to that tournament if he wasn't in good form. So big shout out to Pablo. He's the real deal, guys, the real deal at that weight. And I think he just proved it, especially because Marcio is someone that he has admitted that he's never been able to beat up until now. So I think Pablo truly has hit another, you know, he's hit another level. He's hit another gear. And then last off, we got the super heavyweights. So super heavyweight class I was following, my buddy Paul Cruz is in there. I think Paul Cruz took, I'll say he took second or third last year in Arnold's, and he's another Northeast guy. Probably right now, I would say with Aiello not being in, you know, active, I would say Paul's the best, if not one of the best super heavyweights that we get in the Northeast region consistently at the tournaments. So he was in the class with Devin Gagnabin, who I've been blessed to meet. He's a great dude. He's got the beef jerky company, and he was out at the Monster Factory with me. Another dude with a mega amount of talent that just looks to be so brute strong. He wound up beating Paul in the third, like in the I think it was the B side. I don't know. It was Paul's last match. He wound up shoulder rolling Paul, and Devin then wound up in the finals with Aslanov from Azerbaijan. So Aslanov is pretty much a mainstay at the Arnold. He comes pretty much every year with his training partner and coach Elsavar. So those guys are almost always there. They're mainstays. And Aslanov, I think, has won it years back, but hasn't won it in the past couple. So he reclaimed the title. Top roll was just a little bit too much. So hats off to both of those guys for getting to the finals, and Aslanov for winning. And that's pretty much the recap for Arnold's. I think it was nice to see that that tournament, that high level tournament in the United States, getting a little bit of hype again. So hopefully the momentum keeps rolling in. We get to see a great Arnold turnout again next year. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you got any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer if I can. And again, if you made it and you lasted this long, do me a favor and give me a like, subscribe, and a share. And feel free to shoot those click that button for the notifications, as I'm gonna do my best to keep putting these things out a little bit more consistently. So again, thank you all for the support, and we'll see how it goes. Training camp's underway, 8 more weeks to go, and then we'll see how I do against Sasho. So thanks again, fellas. Take care.